All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 14 of the podcast, and we have a fantastic guest. Me and Matt and Luke, we go way back. Matt is someone I've always looked up to. Back in the day, he was giving me rides to practice. And let me just read off a few stats here for you. Matt's super humble, so he probably won't comment much on a lot of this. But he's a six-time Nebraska state champ, current Nebraska state record holder. He swam 4 years at the University of Wisconsin, NCAA qualifier, Olympic trials qualifier, Big Ten finalist, and I'm sure I missed some other stuff in there. But if he's done it in the swimming world, and we're excited to have him on the podcast. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
No, I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Always ready to talk about it.
Let's go.
All right, Matt. When did you start swimming, and what really got you into it?
Oh boy, that's a ways ago. I'm 23 now, so I started when I think I was 6 years old. And I think the thing that really drove me to it was my older brother was doing it, and I really looked up to him. So anything that he was doing, I wanted to do. So eventually I just started working out with the carpools. If he was going to practice, my mom would throw me in there with him, whether it was Tracy taking us or whether it was Sarah Kobeck, Chris Kobeck. Always someone just kind of throw me into the carpool and get me going. So I think I got started because I wanted to be like my brother, and obviously my parents swam, so that was the main motivators there.
And at what point did you kind of pass Dan up in speed?
Oh, well, Dan definitely has me on anything over a 200. I have no distance for me, so Dan is definitely was a great swimmer, and but I was lucky that I definitely was a sprinter, so didn't have to deal with the longer events. But yeah, no, definitely it was a pleasure to swim with them, as long as I did, for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're gonna need Dan on the podcast. He's definitely on the list.
You should.
He's coming on. So
I bet we could.
Definitely, he'd love to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that whole relay. We've had Eric, we've had you. We're gonna get Dan, and then who else was on it? Luke.
Try to get Luke in me. Yeah. All right. I haven't talked to Luke in a while, but that'll be good.
That'll be funny.
So when did you first start to see signs of success?
I mean, the sport of swimming is a grueling one, right? And if it wasn't for the support system I had, definitely wouldn't be where I was today, right? My mom, my dad, my family, all huge swimmers. Paul, Eric, Luke Van Wee, everyone I look up to. Luke, even you, always a comedical laugh when I was looking over from lane 6 to lane 3 or 4, wherever you were at that point. But no, can't thank people enough. And definitely Brian Jensen, I owe that man everything. I give him a lot of crap, and need to check in with him more. But that man, whether it was finding me a new Gatorade flavor or driving 2 hours to pick me up a donut in Texas, that man did everything he could to get me to where I am today. And I owe him a great deal, and hopefully we'll be able to get back sometime soon. But yeah, so when I first got into it, I remember I think it was long course season when I was 13. I never really had. I won Midwesterns a couple times, maybe 10, 11 years old, but I mean, it was whatever, it's fun. Everything was very relaxed. And then I think it was age 13 long course season where I think I went 102 in the 100 long course backstroke out of nowhere. And I was okay, that's pretty good, qualified for sectionals. So my family brought me to that. And that following season, I think 8th grade year, I was getting a little fast. Maybe I need to commit a little bit more time to this. So went from playing other sports and fully grinded through swimming at that point.
Definitely worth it. So that goes into 8th grade. What about so did Brian say anything to I know he did to John, going into freshman year. So did he say anything to you before?
Oh, yes, he did. I think it was 8th grader. I mean, Dan was killing it at high school, and so was Eric, and Luke Anley was always killing it as well. So he was hey, you're going to be a freshman next year. We need you to step up. We need you on relays. you can't be doing what you're doing now, right? Like I'd go slow on warm up, or I'd mess around, or I'd spend more time out of the pool. And so he was there to push me for that. But then he was like, "Hey, like you're gonna win the 100 backstroke next year." And I was like, "No, Brian, like don't say that." I mean, he has more confidence in myself and me than I have ever had in myself. So once again, owe him everything. Definitely, he pushed me to get there, and yeah, I'd say he definitely was like putting it in the back of my mind, like, "Oh yeah, no, like you're gonna win it." So actually, I remember. Sorry, I remember now. Last year, 8th grade, he actually came up to me and he was like, "This is gonna be me." Like we were watching playback of it, and you saw the medal ceremony, and some person got put on the first place medal, and he was like, "That's gonna be you next year. I'm gonna be doing that to you." And I was like, "No, Brian," but he called it. So
called it. So talk about then the actual, the actual state meet your freshman year.
Yeah.
Tell the audience what happened, and yeah, go for
it. Freshman year as a whole, it was definitely nerve-wracking. I was kind of the new kid on the block. There was Michael Molo, Caleb Cruz, Ethan Shee, definitely, I'd say way better swimmers than I was at that point. And it was very intimidating. So I had all the nerves. I've always been a very anxious person when I come to athletics, and mental health and swimming is definitely a bigger topic to talk about. But yeah, I was nervous wreck that whole time. And honestly, without Brian, I think Amy and Carly Wallmeyer, Eric, keeping me kind of down to earth, definitely wouldn't have happened. But after touching the wall, seeing that first place next to my name, I couldn't have been more happy. All the relief just like felt way better. So was able to focus a little bit more on the back end of the meet after that was done.
Yeah, so we got some stats here. So max preps. Matt is 53 first place finishes his freshman year. Just pure domination. And then he's got 4 second and 1/3, and I assume those are just relays probably. So, so you had a great year your freshman year. Is anyone any colleges kind of knocking on the door, or is it a little bit later once you had some more time drops?
At that day of age, we weren't able to get recruited by colleges. I think I went to sectionals and I'd see a couple of coaches being like, "Oh, like who's this kid?" Or like they'd be in finals, or they'd see, "Oh, he's like 14, got to put him on the board." So I've had a couple coaches chirp at that age, but nothing official.
Gotcha.
So going into like sophomore year here, you obviously are getting faster. What's kind of like training? Are you weightlifting? Like, what's the training looking like going into sophomore year?
Yeah, sophomore year, I believe that was the year I started weightlifting. Yes, definitely started weightlifting that year just at GICC. Shout out Grand Island Central Catholic. But started lifting that year. I felt like, because that was Dan's senior year, so everything was a little bit more like I wasn't the new kid on the block. I kind of had set myself in the state and also set myself kind of in the pool on the relays. So I definitely felt a little bit more comfortable and was able to kind of push it a little bit harder in practice. And having the training partners like Dan and Eric and Kyle, incredible. It doesn't get better than that. So having them there and being there, able to push me every day, huge part of what I was able to do.
For sure. And then take us through some of those.
Go ahead, Luke.
Take us through some of those final meets of sophomore year. Conference state.
Conference. Oh boy, that's way back there. Let me see. Conference, I probably was like 50 point in the 100 back. So that whole year, I made juniors right before sophomore started, and that was a big goal of mine. Kind of happened out of nowhere. I think I dropped from a 52.0 to like a 50.5 out of nowhere, just first meet of the season. So made juniors with that, and then my dad and Brian brought me to Austin, Texas for that one, or it was Federal Way. Sorry, I get my meets mixed up. There's been a lot of that I had to go to. So that was Federal Way.
That Washington?
Yeah, Washington.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a whole different level. When you start swimming, you kind of start with your level, and then it's always just kind of something else up there. You know what I mean? So once I got there, all the nerves were back. I finally kind of felt like, oh, I have my place here. And then as soon as I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even started my progress. So, but no, it was a lot of fun. And then that whole year was a lot of fun. We had Kyle, Eric, Dan, and I on the relays, able to do a couple great things on the relays. I think we got a medley relay that year with Dan as the breaststroker, believe it or not. Yeah, so it was a good year. So going into state, I had high expectations, but just kind of relaxed about it a little bit more than freshman year for sure. So yeah, that was my headspace, at least going into state.
All right, Paul, you want to read him the stats for that one?
So he goes, so sophomore year, he gets the state record, Matt. Tell us about that.
Yes,
You just skipped over that part.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. Right. So yeah, so going, I think probably 50 point at conference, and then all of a sudden, I think it was prelims, and I look over after swimming, and I see 49.1, like completely second and a half drop. I was like, did not expect it at all. Fortunately, was able to break the pool, or I guess the state record at that time. Crazy. It was surreal. Had no idea it was coming. If you see the photos right after that race, you just see pure shock on my face. I definitely didn't know what my ceiling was when it came to the iron back. Mm-hmm. So seeing a time drop like that, once I had already taken off that much time, it was really cool to see. And once again, Brian called it. Yeah, and it was crazy. It was great to have. We had a really good placing that year as a team.
You guys get fourth?
We got fourth, and being outside of Omaha and Lincoln, that's unheard of. And I think we did it with 4 people, and then we had 5 with Alvaro, one of the foreign exchange students that year. So shout out Alvaro.
Alvaro, if you're listening out there, man.
Yeah, back in Spain. So actually, he swims for a club team in Florida now. Fun fact.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so he swims at UF's club team. But yeah, so we were able to get that done, and that was probably the most special thing about sophomore year, was being able to do 4th place with 4 boys. Was crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm excited to talk about this. So you win state, you got the state record, and then you go to the pro swim series.
Yes.
And you're 16 years old at the pro swim series. So talk about, like, how'd you qualify for it? Tell the audience, maybe for the people that don't know what the pro swim series, what is it? And then what was it like swimming next, the best in the world? I did some deep dive research, and I pulled up like the psych sheets, and Ryan Lochte's there. Michael Phelps is at the meet swimming. Yes. He's competing.
He was.
Swam a meet with Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Did you swim any other meets with Michael Phelps, or was that your one?
I'm sure I did. There was probably multiple after that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely kind of a crazy meet, but that was the first time that I was on deck outside of just 18 and unders. I remember me and my mom went to that one. That was one of the few meets that my dad stayed home, took care of the girls and Jonathan, and my mom came with me, so that was really special. But it was great. It was so much fun. I believe to qualify for that one, it was like a summer seniors cut, I think, at the time. So I think it was like a 49.5 short course was converted. So I think that's how I got in. But I swam the 100 fly, 100 back. Those are the 2 I remember, at least. Seeing Ryan Lochte on the pool deck, and all these huge Olympians. Like I actually got ran over by Simone Manuel in warm-ups. I was like, oh, well, here we go. Like Olympic gold medalist just ran me over. So that was kind of my welcome to the world of swimming meet for sure.
Gotcha.
Which was great. It was a lot of fun. Definitely didn't swim very well, but that was the first meet that someone actually asked for my autograph. I was like,
really?
Whoa, like that's I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I'm just a kid from Nebraska, just swimming it up. And that stuck with me for sure. Still remember.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think you took down Ryan Hoffer in that meet. I was looking at that. You beat him in the backstroke.
Yes, so. I did. I think so. It's been a long time. Ryan's had a great career after that. So
yeah, monster career for sure.
Monster career. Very, very talented, especially in underwater swimming. So definitely, it was a really fun meet. A lot of talent there. So met a couple of friends along the way there, and got to experience it with my mom. So that was super special as well.
Yeah, for sure. And when does it like? At what point do you like realize like? So the year before you're going to 52, and I did some research on you like I did everything else. You got 76th at Wynats, and
right. My first
now you're right, and now you're at the Pro Swim Series. You know, swimming at a meet that they give out money for the winners, and Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte's there. Does it ever hit you like what's going on right now? Like last year I was 76th at Wynats, and now I'm swimming next to Phelps.
You know, looking back, it's definitely a crazy timeline.
Yeah.
Not until you said it, I was like, oh, that's kind of a weird transition there for sure. But, yeah, no, that whole year, I guess things kind of got hot and heavy. Being able to kind of swim best times in dual meets throughout my sophomore year and my off events, and then just feeling confident in the water. So after I went that 49, I was like, oh, you know what? Like maybe it's my time to kind of start scoring at these national meets and kind of start doing more. So definitely that 76th place from Wynats, I think I finaled.
Yeah,
maybe one or two.
I had that down. I didn't have it down, but it was 7th place that next year. So 76th, the 7th. And for people knowing Wynats, there's some good swimmers there. I know I was looking at this like sheet. Ryan Held was either there your freshman or your sophomore year. Like
Zach Apple, Ryan Held, Austin Katz,
Brendan Burns was there.
Burns,
Yeah.
So, always fun.
And we'll continue on Wynats because you just get better and better every year and just keep moving up in the place. But let's move on to junior year here. Yeah. So this is me and Matt's first year together swimming.
The best.
And
the best.
It was super fun. Let me just give the viewers here like a little insight of how much I looked up to Matt. There was one time that I'd asked you, I was like, Matt, do you eat breakfast before morning practice? And you're like, nah, I don't eat breakfast. Cause or maybe you grabbed your granola bar or something, but you didn't like having all the food and swimming. So you know what? I did not eat breakfast. And then I was like, I'm just like freaking starving after practice. And then I remember we're driving to school, and you're like my mom had told you, like, Paul's not eating breakfast anymore because Matt says he doesn't eat breakfast. So you're like, Paul, you can eat breakfast. I was like, oh, I know. I was just like trying to do what you did. So
no, that's a great story. That's very humbling. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of lost of words for that. I definitely, it was great to be with you every day. It was fun. Awesome. That was some of the best times in the high school career.
Yeah, that was
being able to drive the carpool in the morning after we're all in bed. Casey's Pizza, absolutely. So that was some of the best memories for sure.
Yeah, I remember you'd be up at the first day you picked me up from morning practice. I had my I was so excited. I had my electric toothbrush. I was just rolling around my house, woke up my whole house.
Great news. Those 4:45 wake ups, or I'd like pick you up at 4:45.
Yeah, you'd pick me up, and then we had to take Julie the next year. And I wasn't a big fan of that because I was sitting in the back with all the bags. I kind of moved on, but it's all right. She was nice, and
we needed to kick out Julie apparently.
I guess just because I kind of wanted the front seat to myself again. But
that's fair, definitely.
So let's go on to the junior year here, and talk a little about you're kind of chasing down that trials cut. Talk a little bit about that and talk about some of the expectations you had like maybe set for yourself and the recruiting, because that's so just start with whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh boy. that was a jam-packed year. I guess going in that summer was the first time I was like, you know what, like I went from like 102 to like a 58 low in the 100 back. Right? I was like, oh, you know what? Like I'm getting kind of close to that Olympic trials cut. That'd be pretty cool. It's in Omaha in 2016. So I was like, definitely, like that's something I want to shoot for. So unfortunately, never got it, as we all know. Definitely swam so many meets. Actually, one of my favorite memories from junior year. This is very, very small world, but everyone at the Kearney meet that summer like knew I was going for it, and they were all cheering for me no matter what. It was just like me and a couple other kids, and everyone was lined up hoping me to get the cut, and that was a really special memory for me. But no, didn't get the cut there. I think I went like a 59. Swimming outdoors isn't a friendly thing, so
and that pool is not the fastest in the nation.
Not the pool to do it in for sure. But
gotta clean the cockroaches out before you get in to get ready for the start.
Oh my gosh. Well, being an island oasis prepares you for that.
That's true.
I think junior year, just another funny memory from junior year is that's when I started kind of getting media attention. And not that that's a big deal, but they came and interviewed me a couple of times at morning practice, and the cameraman would kind of float around the pool, if anyone remembers that, and kind of just
was it Ed Littler?
Oh, Ed Littler was
Ed Littler loved you, man.
He was everywhere. So there's a video of me on one of the like going for Olympic trials something, and you just see me swimming backstroke an island oasis, and all of a sudden you see me swim straight into one of those islands, and just they aired it. So that was another little funny story about junior year. But sorry, I digress.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, junior year. I think that was definitely a little bit more expectations were on. After breaking the state record and going 49, unfortunately, Dan wasn't there that year, but we got the addition of Paul, which was huge. So I think we started rolling relays with Eric, me, Paul, Devin, and Kyle. I think those were the starting.
I was on it like once, I think, but I think it was mostly Devin. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, no, it was a good time. I remember that whole year pretty vividly. It was a great year, but definitely swam a lot of off events in the dual meets is what I remember. I remember swimming some breaststroke, some 400 freestyle, 500 freestyle a lot, depending on which pool we were in. And going into state, I think there was even more pressure than the years before. I think people, I guess in Grand Island, the only thing they followed was state swimming, right? So even if I wasn't fully tapering for state, that's the only thing they cared about. So they'd be like, oh, you win state again this year? Oh, you doing this? Like, are you going to break your state record again? Teachers, people on the street, people in school, and anywhere. So the pressure was definitely on that year. I mean, pressure as is a privilege as it is, but it was definitely very pressureful that year. I think going into state, I don't know if you want to touch on that, but I think I beat the state record, but it was like a 48-8 or something like that. And right. I knew I had more in me. So I think I was a little disappointed with that state effort.
Yeah.
But the relays, if they didn't medal, we consoled, and that was a big part. I think some big relay swims from Eric that year. I think that's the first time he went 20 point on the 2 free relay or 2 med. And I think Kyle also had huge swims that year and the relays. So shout out to those guys, because without them and without you pushing me in the morning, you gave me a reason to get up, Paul.
There we go.
Hey, if I don't want to go to practice, I need to go to practice because Paul Noble's waiting for me to pick him up.
Paul is brushing his teeth around in circles waiting for you.
That would go through my mind. Definitely. I mean, waking up for 4:45 for morning practice is not a good feeling, as you all know, right? Yeah. So having your teammates there with you, no matter they're a freshman, senior, 5th year when you're in college, it's a huge thing. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Where do you think you get the motivation of, like, you know, you re-break the state record, but like you're like, dang, not good enough. I want to be better. What do you think? I mean, because a lot of people, you know, they re-break it. They're like, that's good enough for the papers. They'll be happy with that. But why do you think that, like, you were still like wanted more?
I think the best way to answer that is because I knew I could do more.
Uh-huh.
I think everyone around me knew I could do more. I think the pressure got to me a little bit that year and kind of crumbled under it. Had a lot of pressure, I think, on the fly that year as well. So definitely just having the pressure, being able to handle my nerves a little bit more, knowing that I could do more. I think I went on that year to actually drop another half a second in the 100 back at the national meets following the season. So
Gotcha.
knew I had a little bit more, and just was a little upset with myself. Just letting the pressure get to me. So
yeah.
But yeah, I like to think that, like I said earlier, and you might get this tired of, but pressure is a privilege, and if you have pressure on you, that means you're doing a good job, no matter what field you're in.
Yeah.
Even in my career today, completely pressure is a privilege. So very fortunate to be able to have that pressure, and just never being satisfied, I guess. Like being happy, and I think I need to work on that a little bit, taking some time to kind of be happy with where I'm at and what I've done, but never satisfied. And I think that's a good way to kind of progress through life with an easy balance, I guess, for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah. Wait, so at the start of junior year, you can start getting recruited. So
yeah,
what kind of glossed over that, but what kind of schools are looking into you at that point?
Yeah, so I started talking to, sorry, I forgot about that part. I think a lot of people were, if I recall, a lot of schools were talking to me at that point. I remember that summer, I think it was July 1st, people can call you, right? And you don't even know that they have your number. So my phone was blowing up. I think I had like 15 to 20 calls throughout the first 1 to 2 days after July 1st. And I was at the Olympic trials because I didn't make it, and I was spectating instead. And I'd be taking calls from recruiters, anywhere from, everywhere. A lot of places called me that day. I wish I remembered a little bit better, but none other. Definitely my favorite from that day was Greg Fleming. No better recruiter out there than Greg Fleming.
Greg Fleming.
If you don't know, Nebraska Wesleyan's, he was
Gotcha.
great coach. That he's retired now, but he was Dan's coach. And if there's any coach that's just such a great guy in and out of the water, takes care of you and your personal life, no matter what it is, it's Greg Fleming. So shout out Greg Fleming for sure.
So he called you up.
Yeah, he called me up, and Dan was chirping at me even before July 1st. Sorry, NCAA, but it was definitely a weird process. I think the biggest thing about junior year was kind of nailing down where I wanted to take official visits, because you only get 5 of them, where the school can pay you, or not pay you, but bring you out and good time. So
he didn't mean it like that.
that was before NIL. I definitely missed out on that, but so it was a good opportunity, and so definitely kind of narrowed it down throughout that year. I think I took my list from 40 schools down to 10 going into senior year. So
gotcha. And what do you remember about I remember being there when some of the coaches would roll up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. I think, the Iowa coach came, and then Colby just lost it during practice. It was on, you got pretty excited, and everyone was all squirrely. And
yeah, I think there was 4 or 5 coaches that came to town and actually came over to my house and had dinner with me. I think actually, Paul, you were at the Iowa coach one, right?
So I was at a couple of them, maybe.
Yeah.
I just remember Colby and I don't know, Doug, just went all crazy. I mean, because you're swimming in a lane with Colby and Doug, and you got the University of Iowa trying to get you to go to school there. There's people doing swim lessons in lane 2, for God's sake.
They were scouting the guys in lane 2. They weren't looking at me. So that's what I'm saying. But I actually, was it Bob the Mouse? Bob the Mouse
was held by the former University of Iowa coach before they cut the program. But
that's
he was over there and for dinner. He was over at your house for dinner, and the Mouse used to be over there too. I think Jonathan was watching him or something, and so he had to hold him a little bit.
So many little stories within there. Especially because the swim team, and Paul's family, we're extremely close. So everyone around us is super close, and we have all these small stories, which might be another podcast.
That's true.
But Paul has probably enough stories to talk for the rest of his life. So.
That's true. We got a lot for sure. So who'd you tell the audience who'd you end up rolling with?
Yeah. Took officials to Indiana, Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, TCU, but I had to pay my way there. And then, oh gosh, where was the fifth? NC State. NC State was my first one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So those were the kind of 6 that I really nailed into.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else at that point, I either kind of looked out, whether it was their team or whether it was academics, because academics was a pretty important part to my decision as well. But yeah, so that was my kind of final 6 going into October of senior year.
Jeez. So those were your visits. Who do you end up like taking with and why?
I mean, there's reasons behind all of them, obviously, but my first one, NC State was a program that was on the ups, right? And it was such a cool offer. I got there. I think that was my either second recruiting weekend, and took that one because they were on the ups. It was a great team, multiple Olympians, very, very fun atmosphere. And it was actually pretty cool. Olivia Callaghan as well went there. She was on my recruiting trip and she actually committed there. So it was great to see a little bit of Nebraska out there. So definitely was an appealing feature there. But other than that, Texas is Texas. Texas is the swimming school. So that was a great opportunity. I remember being in Townley Haas's pickup truck going to a river to paddleboard on the river, and it's just like, time out. Like this guy just won a gold medal like a month ago, and now I'm sitting in the passenger side of his pickup truck. Like what's going on here? So
that's crazy.
That was a loaded weekend. That if you guys know swimming, it's Austin Katz, Daniel Carr, Grant House, Tal Davis, all of them were on my recruiting trip, and all those guys were top 10 coming out of my class. So that was the first point where I was like, you know what, like Texas wanted me to be here at their top recruiting weekend. Like maybe it's time to start acting like I belong here. You know what I mean? Because the confidence that Brian had was not the confidence that I had in myself. So that was the first point where I was like, you know what, like, hey, maybe I'm allowed to start believing in myself. So always good. But Iowa, I mean, Mark Long was amazing, incredible guy in and off the pool deck. And so I mean, he came to my house. They sent assistant coaches out. So they just really pulled. So I thought it'd be good to go at least see the school. And then Wisconsin was kind of an off chance, just you know, like I have another visit. Like, sure, I'll just go check out Wisconsin, fellow Big Ten school, not too far away from home. And TCU it's just a cool school. It's more great academics, overall great setup. They were a little bit slower at swimming at the time, but it would have been a lot of fun to kind of build a program. Oh, and then Indiana as well was amazing. A bunch of Olympians. So that was obviously an attraction there.
So why do you end up going with Wisconsin?
Yeah, you know, it really came down between Texas, Indiana, and Wisconsin. And I think very early on, NC State was pretty aggressive. So they actually ended up pulling my offer because I wanted to finish out the rest of my trips. So that was off the table. And then TCU and Iowa had some unfortunate situations when it came to scholarship from what was promised and what was actually brought up. So that's what got them out of the running. And then, but Indiana, Wisconsin, and Texas were all head to head. And I remember talking to Whitney Height, the coach at the time of Wisconsin. And he said, you know what? He gave me my offer, gave me my scholarship. And he was like, you know what? You can accept today, which I would love. You can accept in a week. You can accept in a month. God, give it 3 months. Doesn't matter. Offer's still here for you, right? And just hearing that from a coach when most people don't understand, but college swimming is a business. It is, people get fired and lose jobs, and people's careers end for business reasons. And a lot of people don't understand that. So going from kind of club swimming with Brian Jensen, where he always has your back, and then getting thrown into college where it's a crazy, there's money on the line. So hearing that from a college coach was incredible. I was like, if this guy is going to have my back, even before I get on the pool deck, like that's going to be really cool. So that's actually what kind of solidified the deal with Wisconsin. I was like, you know what, the coaching staff has my back. So that's what got me there.
Yeah, definitely a really good reason.
Yeah.
So when in the school year do you commit to Wisconsin? How do you solidify that?
I believe October, right after Jonathan's birthday, actually. October 27th or something like that.
Of junior year?
Senior year.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because everything was a year later before they moved it up a couple of years ago. So
okay.
Everything was a year later. So that was basically when everyone was committing. So late October, committed.
Gotcha. So we'll do a little wrap on your high school career here. So you win state again. You repeat 4 times in the backstroke, freshman through senior. I don't know the stats on if anyone else has done that or not 4 times in a row. That's actually a good question. I'd like to find out someday.
I think I was the third person to do it.
Third person. Gotcha.
Jonathan would have been the 4th.
Gotcha.
If health helped him out.
Right.
That's it.
So now that you re-break the state record, and then you go out to Wynats, 3rd place. You go from 7. Yeah. That's right. Is that right? 3rd place at Wynats.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you go from 76th your freshman year to 3rd place your senior year, and your 6-time state champ, and you win the boys athlete of the year, which I forgot you won it, but I was researching and I was like, dang, like that's like super crazy that you won that, especially in a world where, there's football and basketball. Yeah. And what did that mean to you winning that?
Extremely. I can't describe it. It was a great feeling. When you look back at that award, the runner-up for it just got drafted by the Eagles. So really? Obviously, there was a little bit of like, oh, like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But no, very, very cool. Was very fortunate to have the career that I did in high school, and honestly, a lot of it wouldn't have been done without my support staff. And the boys who was in the pool every day, and even Tracy Noble taking care of me outside the pool. My mom taking care of me, everyone. And honestly, Brian Jensen, of course, even the assistant coaches, Mama Winter, shout out Melissa, always there for me, always there to help. So can't thank them enough. But definitely, I think the real big thing that happened that year, state was great. A lot of pressure off my shoulders getting the 4-peat. And then just going into Wynats and NCSAs, the 2 kind of end of season national meets, a little bit more confidence going into those. And that's when I really was able to kind of start breaking out in anything other than the backstroke. So that's kind of where I started my transition.
Yeah, you got 44 on the 100 free, weren't you? In high school.
Dropped. I think I got 3rd at Wynats after being like seated like 50th. Wow. I got 46 going in, and then I went 44 in finals. I was like, okay, we'll take it. I remember the NC State coach was there because it's in Greensboro. And after I went 44, he looks at me and he's like, good swim. That was pretty good. So, getting that from him, I was like, okay, that feels pretty good.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So let's move to Wisconsin here.
Yeah.
So you go to the University of Wisconsin. You had this fantastic, arguably one of the best, maybe the best high school Nebraska State swimmer.
You're too nice. That's
what's no, that's probably true. I don't six titles. I don't know if anyone has more of individual swims.
Yeah.
It'd be good, it'd be fun to look at that. But so we'll go to Wisconsin here. What's it like kind of being like your senior year of high school, like you're versing people from McCook, you know, you're going to dual meets McCook, and like a lot of these people are like, you know, they're farmers or something, and they're just swim, you know, a couple months of the year just for fun. And now you're going to, you know, you might be versing an Olympian at one of your meets. What's that like? What's the transition like?
Transition was tough. You know, we had a couple Olympians my freshman year on the team. And I mean, we also had Beta, and we all know how Beta swam. So it was intimidating. Going from practicing at the Y and then going to college was a big transition. And something that's really not talked about a whole lot. You know, you're not just an athlete, you know what I mean? It's very different. Obviously through high school swimming, you have high school and you're active in it, but college is a whole different level. So balancing that, I think Whitney Height was definitely probably the hardest coach to transition into, just due to practice. But it was definitely a great opportunity. And I think the biggest transition, to be completely honest, was a 2000 kick every day at the beginning of practice. Every day. Didn't matter. Morning practice, night practice, 2000 kick, always.
The end of every practice?
No, the beginning. So we'd always throw the kickboard in, always a 2K kick set. Always high intensity too. So that's a big reason I think I got a lot better was the kicking.
Wow, it's a 2K.
Yeah. There was times freshman year where it was a brutal year. Lots of people quit on the team. We'd have morning practice like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., 7:30. Then we'd go to a full day of school. And then we'd come back, lift, and then we'd go from lifting to spin class where we'd lock the door in a racquetball court, throw 40 people on there, put sweatshirts on, no fans, just sweat it out. And then we'd run and hop back in the water for afternoon practice for an hour and a half. So anyone who made it through that freshman year, that's props to them because we went through hell. Whitney High was a great coach. Honestly, a lot of people have different opinions, but he really treated me like his own son. And if you gave him the respect and you gave him your all, he was going to give you your all. So really respected that. And the support staff that year with Jake Tapp and Neil Caskey, the greatest coach alive, couldn't have been beat. I mean, Jake was an Olympian for Canada, and Neil, I think, national champion multiple times on relays at Texas. Amazing 200 butterflyer. So that support staff on top of Whitney was incredible.
Yeah. Incredible. What do you remember about your first swim meet? College swim meet.
You know, it was a little different, you know, we'd always do nationals, obviously travel for that, but it was like a weekday, and I just got out of math, like calc, first class of college. And all right, we're getting on a plane. We're going down to Alabama, like crazy. So that I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you did the research. It was Auburn and Tennessee.
Yep. Auburn,
maybe
Tennessee. Yeah.
Hey, there we go. So still remember a little bit. But yeah, that meet, I don't remember how well I did, but I remember I did exceedingly well for expectations. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know Hugo Gonzalez is. He swam, huge cow swimmer, 4 a.m. He's like a 3:34, like crazy fast. He was at Auburn actually when he first got in.
Uh-huh.
And so I swam my first two back, like my first college race right next to him. So that was a big welcome to college. Another thing about that was I was in Whitney's car going to the airport after the meet and had a good meet. He was proud of me. It was, that's all you could ask for. Right. And he was like, why didn't you go to Texas? I was like, what do you mean? Like, I want to come here. He's like, I would have went to Texas if I were you. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what? I remember that to this day. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's he was a Texas alum. Neil was a Texas alum. So maybe it was a joke, but it definitely was like, oh, okay, well, thanks. All right.
That's funny.
That is insane. So,
go ahead, Luke.
Okay, so going into freshman year, so first meet, do you guys do any like fun training other than a 2K kick set at the beginning of every
No. It's not like I said, Luke, it's a business. They're there to, I mean, they're paying tens of thousands of dollars for you to be there. You know what I mean? So they're going to get every single little thing out of you they can. Which is great. I mean, it's a very, very great thing when they pay for your school. I mean, there's no better opportunity. So I was happy to do anything I could. I think it was Minnesota. It was like the second dual meet. I went my best time ever in a brief, like in the middle of the season after doing a 2K kick set in the morning. I was like, oh, so I guess these kick sets are actually helping. So that was my final, like, I think I was Big Ten freshman of the week then and was able to go best time and win like 2 or 3 events there. And I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can produce at this level. Maybe I'm a better swimmer than I thought. So that was kind of the first meet that I was like, okay, this is real. I think it was a quad against Minnesota, Michigan, and Purdue. That was the first meet that I was like, wow, all right, here we go. It's great. So college swimming is a different beast.
Right. So let's take us to Big Tens. Big Tens, your freshman. You balled out, man. You had a great meet. At least from us. I'll let you tell us about it and what you thought about it.
Yeah, it was a really good meet. I think 46 hard and back, 142 2 back. Might have been on a couple relays. I don't remember that well.
Yeah, 2 medley you're on. I think I looked it up.
There you go. Thanks, Paul. I think 21-6.
Yep, 21-6-8. You're fourth of the you held your own in there, man. Fourth of the 8 people in that heat, and
it was a lot of fun. Having that team atmosphere at a meet like that. I mean, there was no meet I've been to that was that loud.
Yeah.
I remember the 2 medley relay, and I couldn't hear. My ears were ringing after they called us to get in the water. I couldn't hear. So if you look at the video, like half the people can't hear that they're actually calling us in the water. It's an electric and great facility and great opportunity to have. But it was intimidating. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed swimming with the team. I think I was very close to NCs that year, but missed out individually. But yeah, overall freshman year was a wild ride. Almost getting blown up at midseason.
Oh yeah, I skipped over that. Go back and.
You want me to focus on that? Well,
yeah, let's hear that. Yeah.
So every year, at least Wisconsin did a training trip to Hawaii for 2 to 3 weeks, and it was great. Like, can't get better than that. They pay for you to go to Hawaii. You just train at UH, and if you weren't swimming, kind of the free time was yours. So beach, anything you want to do. So it was the last day there, and I was taking a shower, and we're on the 40th floor of the hotel, so pretty high up there, looking over the mountains of Oahu, and we all get this text on our phone, and it's ballistic missile inbound. Seek shelter now. This is not a drill. And we're like. And now there was a little bit of tension at that point with North Korea. And we were like, oh, are we about to get nuked? Is this about to happen? So I remember I remember calling my parents, and my dad's first thing was, nah, that's probably fake. Don't worry about it. We used to have those all the time. I was like, Dad, I showed him the text, and he was like, oh yeah, that's a little different from the past. So I remember sitting on the balcony with Victor, who was a distance swimmer and a senior at that time, and Ryan Stack, another close friend who's actually from Hawaii. We're just looking out over the mountains, just waiting for a missile to kind of come and just end our lives, which was extremely morbid, but it was crazy. People were crying, hugging themselves, hugging their babies. People were running to the ocean, trying to swim and dive deep so they wouldn't die. It was
hold your breath.
Actually, it was pandemonium. It was crazy. And our coach was like, all right, everyone go to the lobby. I was like, what's going to the lobby going to do? Like, we're going to get nuked. We're going to all die. So like, I don't want to stay here. But he shows up in the lobby with just like a towel. And some of my close friends at the time, they were just bawling hysterically. And I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. They were like, call your parents. This might be the last time you get to talk to them. It was like, oh, all right.
Oh, shit.
So it was a little surreal. It's funny looking back at it now, knowing that it's fine, but in the moment, like, people thought they were going to die.
Yeah.
So it was
wow.
definitely a little scary.
That sounds scary. Damn.
Yeah. So we took off and left that day. I remember when we were taking off, I looked out the window and we see this full naval armada, like 14 ships, just like going towards the island. I'm guessing. I was like, oh, so it's like, was it really a mishap on a button or like something more going on? So who knows? Government will probably never tell us, but that's probably crazy. Just a mislip.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So you have this. We'll go back to Big Tens here now that you survived the missile crisis of Hawaii. So you had a great meet. And then there's a there's a coaching change, correct? It was after freshman year.
Yeah, Whitney did end up leaving. He was very hard on the team, obviously. Did
he end up leaving, or was he like?
Well, he got fired.
But okay,
he was let go. Yes.
Gotcha.
I always liked Whitney, but he definitely, if you were on his bad side, you were on his bad side. But yeah, he was a great coach. He went on to I think he's the assistant head coach for the women at UF right now.
Gotcha.
But that was kind of an uncertain period. We didn't know who the next coach was going to be. I was fortunate enough to kind of know a little bit more into the process, talking to administration, and it was good. It was just kind of thought about transferring a lot that year. The transition's hard. Sometimes it's hard fitting in. Some of the guys on the team were amazing, and I couldn't have let them down. So having them, it was the biggest thing. They're a great team, great group of guys in and out of the water. So ended up staying. Didn't end up transferring. Stayed there for another year, and that's when Yuri entered the picture. Yeah.
Gotcha. And how does Yuri's coaching style differ from Whitney's?
Yeah, with Yuri, we definitely weren't doing spinning. Spinning was completely off, which was great. Loved that. No more right before you get on your flight for Christmas. No more 2200s. Four fly, 4 back, 4 breast, 4 free, 4 IM, max time, max effort on 3 minutes. No more of that. I think Yuri understood it's good to break yourself down, but you need to repair yourself. So there was a couple times throughout my career at Wisconsin, like sometimes you're just not feeling in the water. And whether that's because you just maxed out lift and you're going to do 1050s on 30 seconds freestyle holding 22.5, like sometimes you can't do that after that. So there was sometimes Yuri would come up to me and he'd be like, you're a circle trying to fit in a smaller square hole. Like it's just not working today. So get out and like go take care of yourself. So just being able to kind of take care of yourself when you need a little bit extra between you're going to get through this and you're going to grind until it's over. You know what I mean? So that was the biggest switch between the two.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely different coaching styles for sure. Kick is still there. Always a 2K kick.
Really?
Oh yeah. not always at the start, but definitely always kicks.
Yeah. There you go.
Jeez. Brutal. So so after the coaching change, you get some injuries. You get a knee injury. Take us through like how that happens.
That's the right timeline. Is that the right timeline?
Yeah. So that was really late into sophomore season. Having a good year. I think got pretty close to best times in dual meets. That was the first time it was like, I remember swimming against Jay Litherland in the 2 back.
No way.
Just a recent Olympian, I think. Actually ended up winning that 2-back, which was crazy. I was like, oh wow, all right, this is pretty cool. But yeah, no, there's so many little stories about that, and just getting that exposure to swim a lot of the top talent teams during the season allowed you to kind of get to Big Tens and be like, okay, we know what we've done, we know where we're at, we're going to be able to succeed, right? So went through Hawaii again, no missile crisis, thank goodness. Going into Big Tens, a lot of fun. A lot of fun in the air right before Big Tens, and the day before we got on the bus, I was actually studying at this, like, the student athletes academic center, and kind of sitting crisscross applesauce on my chair, or like with my feet below the chair in my boots, and I move my leg and my knee gets caught, and my meniscus, flipped multiple times, decided it wasn't going back in. So couldn't walk. I called Neil. Neil basically carried me to the athletic training facility. And I remember sitting there for like 6 hours, just in pain with my knee, just completely kind of out of place. They call in a ortho surgeon who just basically comes in and he just starts yanking on my knee, trying to get back in. So they ended up giving me a shot of painkiller straight to the knee, and then he was able to kind of loosen it up, got it to flip back into place. But just that feeling of being like, I was supposed to be on all 5 relays that year. Day before, just feeling like I just let my whole team down. You work year round for that moment to kind of ball out with your team, and everything that year was kind of showing I was going to do really well. I mean, I was killing it. I think going into that year, it was tough. I was doing some of my best swimming I've ever done. I remember doing a 50 back, and I was 21 low in practice. And then I remember doing like a first 100 of a 2 free out, and I was like 20.5 to the feet. And I like just doing crazy times beforehand, and then having my season end like that, laying down the team. That's something I really regret. And it wasn't like I was skiing or I was doing something crazy, but it was definitely a low point in my life for sure.
Yeah.
But was able to go. I tried to swim that year. It was at Iowa. So you see a guy on a knee brace on the deck who pulled it off, got in the water, tried to swim. And it needed surgery. It would flip out and flip back in every about 2 minutes. So definitely painful, but was able to go support the team. I think that's the biggest role anyone can do. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. You can always make the best of everything. You know what I mean? Make the best of what you got. Mm-hmm. So, I wasn't able to be there and be able to produce athletically for my team, but I was basically a volunteer coach at that point. I was the first person greeting people. I was the videotaper. I was the people rolling people out. I was holding cords. I was doing everything I possibly could. And honestly, I was very grateful for the experience looking back now, because, you learn so much more kind of when I had that opportunity to see people race and kind of help people, like, this is what you need to do. This is what you need for your race style. And then going to see them execute it and seeing all that. So that was always important. Right. So learned a lot out of the water that year, but unfortunately wasn't able to swim. So it is what it is.
For sure. And it was pretty amazing. Right after that summer, you started just throwing it down again, didn't you? Like trials cut, and like talk about like kind of the recovery and how you're able to just turn around from, knee surgery to Olympic trials cut in a matter of however long that was.
Got surgery as soon as I got home. And anyone who knows me, I love my mom. She's the best. Side point, but she came out and rehabbed me for my surgery. Got an Airbnb for like a week. Woke up at 3 a.m., made sure I was taking my pain meds, like did the whole 9 yards in Madison. So I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. I mean, from any point in my life, obviously, without my mom. So just a special highlight there for her. But yeah, going into that summer, it was like, I have something to prove. Like I did go down, but I was rearing to go. So yeah, fortunate enough to get a trials cut. I mean, threw down some best times and 100 free, 200 free, I think that summer. I think I even went to nationals maybe that summer. But yeah, no, great year. Able to make the most of it coming off that injury. And yeah, good time.
Gotcha. So, having that knee injury and rehabbing like at Wisconsin a little bit, what other athletes did you see like kind of the training room and like yeah.
One of my favorite moments actually. For some reason, I mean, it depends if you know football or Wisconsin running backs. So Melvin Gordon, Denver's running back now, he had a knee injury that year. Divine of Zigbo, past running back, Jonathan Taylor, all the hot shots.
Yeah,
we're all doing knee rehab at that point. and then there was me. So there would be some days I did knee rehab with them, which was really cool. So, I mean, there's been a lot of hot shots in the NFL.
Yeah.
From Wisconsin. So being able to rehab with them and just kind of see them in the training room, it's a weird feeling. You know what I mean? Like, you see all those athletes on a daily. So even beyond football, Wisconsin has incredible athletes. We always win women's hockey. So shout out them. So seeing them every day, track, we have multiple Olympians, all these people every day you get to see them, which is it's just really cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. So junior year, it's kind of the redemption year for you then, huh?
Yeah. Junior year was it was a good year. It was an incredible year. Got some best times throughout the whole year, I think, if I remember correctly. That was kind of setting into Yuri, like, okay, this is what it's going to be like, because there's always that transition period after a coach. So that was a good year. From top to bottom, it was an interesting year. I gained a lot of weight, good weight. It was lucky. I think I was rocking at 205 that year. So a lot more weight than I was usually carrying around. So that's where I really started to be like, you know what? I'm ready to be an asset to the team in any way possible.
Right.
And through that, like, I don't swim the 50 freestyle. I don't swim the 200 freestyle. I don't really swim the butterfly. So, or the two bag at that point. After going that 142, I was like, no, I'm done with the two bag. Too painful. So being able to do that and having Yuri be like, hey, we're going against Virginia this weekend. We need you to swim the 2 free, right? Mm-hmm. Against some of the top guys in the nation. We need you to win. That's what you need to do. Kind of very similar to high school mentality, where it was like, hey, we're going to put you in this. Yeah, it's not your best event, but you need to go out and you need to win. That's the only option, right? So pressure was the privilege. Pushed through it. It was a good year. Crazy year. It was the first year that kind of felt like high school. Like, okay, like we're going against big names, but it doesn't matter. You need to push, and you need to beat the guy across from you, no matter what you're feeling like. That was the biggest change in junior year for sure.
For sure. And you're able to get back to your best times, right? Best times and a lot of things, right?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get some best times across the board. I was actually able to swim relays. I was on all 5 relays. So that first night, 2 med into the 8 free was painful. Painful. Such a painful race. But everything about that in the weeks leading up was very similar to sophomore year. I was doing some crazy things in the water and really enjoyed it. And I got sick right before, which always is tough, but I was able to kind of get back and do some great things at Big Tens.
Yeah.
And that was the year COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We made NCs. Everything was looking good.
I mean, what were you throwing down on the 8 free relay?
Oh boy. Well, I only got one chance to swim it.
Really?
Yeah. At Big Tens. I think I went 134 low.
Wow.
I was supposed to go, I was pacing a lot faster, so I was a little disappointed with that. But I was coming off the 2 med, and I was gassed after that. I remember that. So
yeah.
I was really looking forward to another shot swimming that. I really wanted to go 132, 133.
Yeah.
So very, very bummer that COVID came in. Obviously, that's such a little thing to the actual pandemic, everything that went down is I'm glad it was canceled. Health and safety obviously is first priority.
Yeah.
And, so it was a bummer, but at the same time, it had to happen. And throughout that whole transition, it was definitely a switch, a switch. So I think the biggest thing about that was when COVID hit. If you don't mind me segueing,
No, go
for it.
Yeah.
Going back to Nebraska, I lived with my family for the first time since senior year in high school. Right, that was a crazy feeling. Dan was back home. Dan's girlfriend was home. I'll say now, which was amazing, and having them be there was such a special moment. Some of the best days of my life would be back in COVID, which is very interesting to say. Yeah. And it's terrible because everything that did happen there, but just being able to be with my family again was the highlight. I mean, John came on this podcast, as we know, and you know what he was going through at that time, and being there for him. I didn't know how much of an impact, I guess, Dan and I were making until after. So, I mean, I cried listening to that podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was good. I cried listening to that podcast. It was so nice to actually see John kind of grown up in his element. Obviously, he had some health stuff going on, but I think that was good for our whole family, top to bottom.
Yeah.
So being there was super, super nice.
For sure.
But yeah, weird. Didn't train for a long time. I didn't go to the Y. Y was closed. Did a couple dry land workouts with John or running around the house, whatever it was. So got into golf a little bit.
There you go.
Enjoyed the other things in life. So
nice.
But everything came back to an end, and ended up going back to Wisconsin for that senior year.
Gotcha. So yeah. So kind of talking about. So for the audience here, I'm really trying to say this. Matt's junior year he went fast. I don't know if everyone got that. Like best time, you were like 46 low 100 back or something, 134, 43 100 free. Like you're on top of it. So yeah, I mean you're so humble, man. You just kind of skip over everything. But so when it's canceled, is it kind of like damn, I can't catch a break, or is it like I'm happy to be home with my family? A little bit of both, because I mean you have the year before you're hurt, and then now you can't go to NCAAs.
You know, I not one to make excuses. So obviously whatever happened, and I'm very content with whatever happened. But it's kind of the series of unfortunate events. Right. As in, like, we're about to get into my senior year. Something similar happened as well. So
right.
It's a big regret of mine, knowing what I think I could have done fully, and not being able to kind of see that through. Kind of haunts me to this day. But I think that's why it actually took me so long to kind of get back on this podcast. I know you guys reached out to me a long time ago, and I was kind of bitter about how everything inspired. So it took me a little bit of time to kind of come to terms with everything.
Sure.
Life's so much more, and it's way more, and it's the people that are actually in your life that matter. So so it was that's why it took me so long to kind of get on here. But great year. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to the team. The team was amazing. Doing it with some of my best friends was, I mean, just like high school. No better feeling. So
for sure.
So yeah, then we were going into a senior year there. Everything was a little different. Obviously it was COVID. So you got COVID, you were out for like 15 days at least. You were in contact with COVID, you were also out for the 15 days. So constantly everyone was going down like flies, right? I remember being in like 2 or 3 quarantines throughout that first semester, that senior year. I think we were able to actually have a couple meets. Don't remember them that well, but I was able to throw down. A lot of fun. We had a good team that year. And then always had some neck pain. I guess if you want me to transition into that.
Yeah, go for it.
So always had some neck pain. I think it had to do with a fractured vertebrae from doing some weighted squat jumps with 225 on the bar. It was not a great idea.
Yeah.
But, so I think I injured it there, but I always had neck pain. So ended up getting another routine MRI on it. And I remember my trainer calling me in and was like, Matt, like she was like shaking. Me and Lauren, who was the trainer, we were extremely close. She was my mom away from home. Incredible woman. Crazy. She's doing her PhD right now at UNC Chapel Hill. So I owe her a lot. She kept me alive. Let's say that. Absolutely kept me alive throughout all my injuries. So she calls me in and she's like, you need to come in the training room. She wouldn't tell me what it was. Right. So I was like, okay, like, I guess. So I roll into the training room. She's like, there's a mass in your neck. It's like, oh, all right. So guess this is happening. Right. So they're like, don't worry about it. Give it 6 months, see how it goes. Right. If it gets bigger, which it won't, because it's benign, it'll be fine. Right. So 6 months passed, get a routine MRI, and we see that doubled in size. And we're like, oh, crap. So the doctor didn't give me an option. He's like, it's coming out now. Right. So had to go into surgery, which is tough because for the third time in a row, just kind of having your season ended short when you know you have so much left in the tank was tough. But it gave me the opportunity to be on the deck for the guys. I was kind of a volunteer coach throughout that rehab. So I had surgery right after my birthday in January, right after winter training, and made that decision. And so after surgery, I tried to get back in the water a little too soon. I was ready to go, ready to make Big Tens, ready to do it. Really thought that I could still kind of provide for the team. You know what I mean? Even though I hadn't swam in about 2 months after COVID. And I skipped me getting COVID and being isolated in a dorm room by myself for a week and a half. That was tough. But yeah, tough situation. Didn't swim for 2 months and then got back in, ripped all my sutures out. But tough situation. That's why you see my scar on the back. It's like this thick. So all my sutures ran out. So gonna get surgery to get that redone here soon. But
really,
definitely. I mean, yeah, there's a couple other reasons for the surgery, but it's good. It honestly, it taught me so much. It's seeing the good and the bad, and having that opportunity, kind of going under the knife there, was allowing me to help a lot of people with their careers. You know what I mean? I was able to be captain, fortunate enough to be the captain for my last 2 seasons. So being there and being able to kind of mentor people through their freshman year and sophomore year, because it is a really hard transition, and being able to kind of do that full time, I think definitely helped out. I really enjoy that. I think I got that from my mom and even your mom. They love volunteering and helping out whenever they can. They're amazing people. And even Luke's parents as well. Yeah. Everyone in my life kind of showed that was the good way to do. So there's so much you learn from bad situations.
Yeah.
So very, very fortunate about everything there.
For sure. And I can attest to that, Matt. I go back home, and Matt's he's got some kid from a different town that he's teaching how to tweaking his stroke, helping him out. I've seen that multiple times. I roll up to the pool to go to practice, and there's a kid from a different town, and Matt's helping him get faster. So
anything to do to help out, that's what matters. There's amazing kids and amazing people out there, and you never know who you're going to meet. You know what I mean? So always just being willing to do anything at any moment, whether that's coach a kid from a different town, whether that's stop in and just give your time somewhere in Madison, or just visit a local hospital. Big thing with Wisconsin swimming was we'd go to the children's hospital at UW and see the kids who were either terminally ill or had bigger things going on. One of my greatest experiences actually throughout all of college was being able to be there for we had a kid named Bodie who was kind of the swim team's. He was another teammate for us. He was an amazing individual. So just having those relationships is huge. It's where I am today. I learned so much from the people around me. Wouldn't be the person I am today without, I mean, even you two. You two, no matter what you think, you guys have played a huge role in who I am today. So I appreciate both of you.
Well, yeah, right back at you, man. I was, like I said, man, whatever Matt's doing, I'm doing. Let's go.
Paul, you got to start doing them 2K kick sets.
Man.
No, Paul's up to big, better things. Just, I don't know if you heard, did you talk about your most recent endeavor on the other podcast?
No, so I'm only doing the swimming one now. So now maybe someday I'll
200 miles through Washington. If anyone doesn't know,
40. Was it 48,000 feet of gain?
46.
46.
Okay.
Just like, yeah, whatever.
No, it was a lot.
Paul is absolutely killing it out there. If anyone doesn't know that. So Paul is absolutely killing the ultra life right now. And Luke, I can't wait to see what you do this year.
Thanks, should be interesting.
Yeah. Luke's gonna ball out here.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. I was just gonna say, so you basically had that neck thing your senior year. Is that just you're out then the whole senior year?
Yeah, I tried to get back in the water. I did a time trial. That's actually when I worked out my sutures. They were like, hey, like, fine, we'll let you swim. Like, we're gonna get you back. Like, my intent was, I'm gonna do the relays. The team needs me. So I remember after not swimming for 3 months, had the surgery, got back in after like feeling the water 3 or 4 times, and I went like a 44.3, 44.4 off the blocks, 100 free.
Moving.
And I was like, all right, okay, looks like I can do it. But I mean, pulled my sutures in the best interest of health. Decided to forego Big Ten because I had the mindset, I'll be here next year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the mindset. So I was like, you know what, I have next year, so I'll wait and just let it go.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And that whole senior year, very fortunate for the people I met. I had a great support staff even in college. So it was a great year. Decided at the end of my senior season, I'm not going to stick around. So my 5th year, it was time for me to move on from the sport.
Yeah.
Put it lightly, there's for me, there was more to life than swimming. I was ready to hang up the goggles, and I was really ready to tackle my next thing in life. So 5th year, I actually worked still. My internship I had previously remote, but I actually got back in the water a little bit.
Yeah, tell us about getting back in the water. Let's see, what do I got in these notes? Club swim meet.
Yeah.
Club swim meet year after retirement.
Yeah, post surgery, post everything. Thought it'd be good to kind of get back active. You know what I mean? I took a couple months off, needed to get back in shape. So it's like, I'll swim club, right? Just intending to do practices, just like once, twice a week, just staying healthy. Also joined flag football and ultimate frisbee, which was so much fun to kind of experience some other sports. But the guys on the team were like, hey, like, you should consider swimming a meet for us. I think it was like their regionals, right? So they needed cuts to go to nationals. And this is the same program that Eric was doing, the CCS. So I was like, yeah, I'll swim. So ended up swimming one meet and really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What'd you throw down? Do you remember?
It was, I did a couple practices beforehand, but I think I was able to go 22 something in the 50 back still.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think I swam the 100 free, I think 46. So obviously off wherever I was at, but
still, ultimate frisbee and running around, doing other things. That's pretty good, man.
A lot of fun. And so able to still throw down. And I think that was like a nice little like, okay, still got it. I'll put the goggles up for a little bit more, and we'll see. We'll reevaluate maybe some masters later on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this kind of like you ready to be done and kind of move on is it's good because you devoted so much of your life the swimming, and I feel like a lot of people, this just happens with a lot of athletes. That like Matt Novinski, swimmer. You know,
Yeah.
what do you want people to know about you that because you're so much more than just a swimmer. What do you want people to know about you other than outside of the sport of swimming that you maybe haven't been able to tell people?
That's a loaded question there, Paul. Obviously, I hope I'm in a good light in most people's eyes, right? I think first and foremost, I hope they see me as a good person. At least I try to live my way that way.
Yeah.
Always being there to help someone. It's kind of my motto. If you can, you should. So I definitely do that quite a bit. But I think the biggest thing to take away from swimming, you know what I mean? Like, people see your stats, and I mean, you see this even with Caleb Dressel right now. Swimming is so much more than your stats. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Swimming is one of the most grueling sports out there, and like it takes a different kind of psychopath to stare at a line for 2 hours a day, right?
Right.
Or even 4 hours a day if you have doubles, right? And the pressure with all of that, it is a privilege, but it's a definite hit to the mental health. I've had significant mental health issues. I mean, starting in high school and then increasing throughout college.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a huge topic, and I'm glad that the world is kind of becoming more speakable about men's mental health. It's a real thing. There's so many people out there that don't speak up and end up doing terrible things. They just feel like they're in the corner. So there's so much more to swimming and stat lines and things like that. People's mental health and physical health are so much more important. You never know what kind is going on in the background of someone. Right. Something can look so perfect on paper, but they could be in their own personal hell. So just remembering that, I guess, always kind of humbles me a little bit. Knowing the situation of others and being able to help out when you can. Obviously, mental health is such a huge topic, and it's a whole different podcast, as you heard from John's situation as well.
Yeah, we've heard from a lot of swimmers. That's one thing I was telling Luke. I was like, "Dang, man!" I said everyone has like maybe it was probably the large majority have brought up something. Milacek brought up something. I mean, there's so many swimmers that all brought it up.
Yeah, I talked to Jacob a lot when I was kind of thinking about transferring. He was the guy I was talking to maybe go back to NC State. But I mean, he summed it up perfectly as well. I watched that podcast. John summed it up. It's an epidemic across the sport of swimming. It's a tough sport and it demands a lot. And when there's athletic departments or other teammates or coaches kind of demanding more on top of that, as well as all your teachers and your GPA and everything like that, it's really easy to get lost. And I mean, any sport, it's definitely not just swimming. I know plenty, unfortunately, athletes at Wisconsin you would never expect. It's a severe thing. So just being able to speak out and kind of get the help that you need, whether that's calling a number or calling a friend or just being there for someone who might not have that outlet, that's the main importance. Definitely the main importance.
For sure. Take us through like any future endeavors you plan on doing. Like,
oh boy, I just got back in the water actually this week.
There we go.
After another year off, joined the YMCA out here. I live in New York City for everyone who doesn't know now. So I work in finance out here in the city. And just got back in the water. So joined a YMCA here. Maybe I'm thinking about dabbling in Masters. I do miss the sport.
Masters national champion. That's what's going to happen if you dabble in Masters.
I don't know about that. But,
yeah, it is, man. I've looked at the Masters times, man, and I know you can take those guys.
Well, I appreciate you backing me, but I don't know if competing right now. But definitely getting in the water, kind of staying active, finding a community. New York City is a big place, but it's easy to get lost. So kind of get in my groove. I love my current job. I work as a private credit analyst out here in the city. Very fortunate to have my position that I do have. And it's a ride. Being in New York City is crazy. Going from Nebraska, where you have about 50,000 people in your town, and then I think the population in New York City is like multi-million. It's crazy.
It's like 9 million maybe or something.
It's like 9 million, and it's I'm on an island right now. Manhattan is crazy. So it's definitely a transition, but future. I think grind out my job. I think taking that mentality that I've been able to get from swimming and apply that to my job has been an interesting transition. I like being to the office early because I'm used to waking up early for practice. So I'm there early. I'm always there doing extra. I'm usually the first person in. And I've had managers come up to me like, you don't have to get here that early. Like it's okay. Like, you can come in later. It's kind of funny, but that hard nose to the grindstone kind of work ethic that swimming taught me really is carried over, which I'm very fortunate of. And no matter what kind of athlete you are, or just anything that you're dedicated to, doesn't have to be athletics. Having that dedication, whether it's a hobby or a club or anything, shows a lot in a person. So people hire off athletics. People hire off having hobbies. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing for future life. Who knows? Maybe I'll snag one of you and get you guys out here on the East Coast. It'd be
Luke, man, you like the stocks, man. Get out there.
Yeah. Come work in finance. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough being away from family for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't go on. I've definitely taken enough of your guys' time already.
No way, man. This has been a
pleasure.
Fun episode. What do we got left, Luke? Just the fun questions, right? Rapid fire fun questions here.
Yeah, we'll throw them at him. All right,
let's go.
I'm doing them off the top of my head. Favorite meat snack?
I'm gonna throw it back to the Grand Island YMCA days when we used to do. I mean, we'd be signed up for like 9 events, right? And we try to eat 9 hot dogs. So every event we eat a hot dog or the walking taco.
The walking taco.
That's
okay.
It
That's okay. Yeah. I can give that one. Favorite pool you've ever swam in?
Oh gosh. I was fortunate enough to go to a national camp after qualifying in NCSAs and training there, like I think 2 or 3 times for the trials. So definitely a Olympic Training Center. That place is just built different. Awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. If you could swim with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? I tell everyone, it can be George Washington. It can be Tom Hanks. It doesn't matter.
I'm going with the route of I wish I could be on that Nebraska team my parents were on.
Cool.
I'm gonna throw it to that just to see what they were doing. I think it'd be interesting.
For sure.
Biggest name you've ever swam with? It could just be in like the same pool.
I mean, yeah, I swam with it. I swam with Michael Phelps. Swam with, Caleb Dressel. Swam with Ryan Held. Name a name. I've probably seen him in a pool. I've been very fortunate enough. But in the same heat, Ryan Lochte, 2-back Mesa Pro Swim Series junior year. I'm not much of a long course swimmer, and I'm not much of a 2-backstroker at that point. Oh, that was painful. I got dusted out of the water by Ryan Lochte there.
Wow.
That was the Ryan Lochte when he had a little bit of a pouch as well. So
gotcha.
Tough, but yeah. So very fortunate enough to be able to swim with all those characters. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, we'll wrap it up. What if you had one thing you needed to tell every swimmer? What would you tell them?
Swimmer
or any person. It's words of wisdom for anyone.
Do what you enjoy. Take care of yourself. Like I said earlier, I already touched on it. Mental health. Take care of it. It's such an under talked about topic, but it pays dividends once you kind of get control of it. Right. Being happy with oneself is way more important than having anyone else's approval. And stay close to the people that you are. That will better you. You know what I mean? Life's too short to lose connections. And I think, having Paul, Tracy, everyone from back home, everyone I met in Wisconsin, everyone I'm currently meeting here, even my roommates here are amazing. You never know who you're going to meet. So always open things with open arms. And It'll be great. Yeah. Just always nose to the grindstone, keep grinding, and things will pay off in the future.
For sure. All right. Well, that is episode 14. We got Matt Novinski, incredible career, incredible swimmer, but most importantly, an incredible friend. And It was an honor to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining us today, Matt.
Thank you, my guys. You guys are too nice. And everyone out there listening, these guys are next up. These guys are the next. I'm so excited to listen to the future podcast, and just want to thank anyone who's ever been in my life and helped me with my swim career.
Gotcha.
It's all them. It wasn't me. It was everyone out there. So thank you, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 14 in the books.